You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio. Welcome to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, where it's all about Black empowerment. Our show focuses on Black news and entertainment, arts, science, economics, history, people, and strategies that uplift, empower, and motivate Africans within the diaspora. And now, your host, whose favorite color is black, Goku.
Yes, indeed. This is Koku, host of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. This is a quick show. This is something like a rant, right? It has rant in the title, so I'll keep it as that. I got 15 minutes to rant, so here we go. I want to talk about this article that came out about 2 or 3 years ago, when all those videos were going around with nail salon owners beating Black women up and all that kind of thing. No one complained too much except the Black community about what was going on. And recently there is alleged to be a slew of anti-Asian hate crimes going on, and it's all the chatter, it's all the talk, right? Now, we know why, right? We know fundamentally why, but I want to remind people of the history between Asians and Black folks, right? And there's this article that I read back in the day that, a couple of years ago that came to mind today in a conversation with a friend of mine. And I want to read this article to you. It's called Nail Salon Brawls and Boycotts, Unpacking the Black-Asian Conflict in America. There's a long history of Black-Asian conflict in America, and tensions were especially high in the early 1990s in New York and Los Angeles. If you're old enough to remember, we're going to talk about some of the things that you should have been probably a kid or young adult when these things happen, based on the demographic of the show, at least. You were either like a teen or early or young adult at the time. As early as I can remember, my dad, an immigrant from Taiwan, would nonchalantly use the term black ghost, which is Mandarin, and essentially the Chinese equivalent of the N-word, to refer to Black people. From a young age, I understood that the racial discrimination perpetuated against Black people in this country was mirrored in the sentiments of members of my community, a community that also faces intolerance in this country. There have been ways in which this racial divide has been represented by the victimization of Asians, from coverage of the 1992 Los Angeles riots to reports of targeted attacks against Asians by Black people. It could be argued that the violence is mutual, but in reality, the Asian community and Asian-owned businesses have much responsibility to bear when it comes to anti-Black violence. You see a picture here of a beauty supply store, Ace Beauty Supply Store, being torn up, being burned down. Sorry, I have to take a drink of that. On Friday, August 3rd, a dispute over an eyebrow wax became physical at New Red Apple Nails on Nostrand Avenue in East Flatbush, New York, not too far from where I am right now. According to a report in the New York Post, customer Christina Thomas was at the nail salon with her sister and grandmother when she received an unsatisfactory eyebrow waxing and refused to pay for the service. The staff ended up getting violent with the 3 Black women, with employees hitting them with broomsticks, dustpans, and their hands. A Facebook video of the brawl went viral, which led to protesters trying to shut down the salon as well as other Asian-owned nail salons. It also led to a movement against Black women to patronize Black-owned businesses. By the way, Black men were telling Black women, don't go to these stores, and Black women still went. Don't say that Black men aren't protecting you when they're telling you, hey, don't go to that store. Yet you still go. The New York Healthy Nail Salon Coalition was quick to condemn the violence of New Red Apple Nails employees, stating that, quote, at no point is any level of violence needed or justified, end of quote, while Asian American community organizations banded together to call out our complicity to black oppression. Quote, white supremacy is upheld when Asian American workers, who are sometimes exploited with long days and low pay, may unjustly take their frustration out with black customers. Bullshit. Has nothing to do with your long days and your low pay. You guys are most times the owners and the family of owners of these stores. You make your money. You have your ownership off of the bread of black folks. By the way, this same writer just mentioned that her father calls black folks, was it black ghosts or some shit like that? That has nothing to do with his long day and his low pay. You guys are complicit and participatory in quote-unquote so-called white supremacy. This incident does not stand alone. In fact, there is a long history of black-Asian conflict in America. Tensions were especially high in the early 1990s in New York and Los Angeles. In 1990, the Flatbush boycott, also known as the Family Red Apple boycott, broke out following the assault of a Haitian woman by employees of the Korean-owned grocery in Brooklyn's predominantly black Flatbush neighborhood. Black protesters called for the boycott of all Korean-owned stores. In 1991, convenience store owner Soon Jadu shot and killed 15-year-old Latasha Hollins after she wrongfully accused Hollins of trying to shoplift a bottle of orange juice from her South Los Angeles store. A security camera video showed the girl had money in her hand to pay for it. Right? And another shot in the back of the head. She was basically executed. Dude didn't serve any jail time. Dude didn't serve any jail time. KW Don 7 is in the room saying RIP to John Magufuli, the president of Uganda. RIP to that brother for real. Right? Who doesn't serve any time for shooting children in the back of their head and killing them? And if you ever watch any documentaries on that incident, a white judge, I forgot her name now, a white woman went down to see this woman, Soon Jadu, in lockup and felt sorry for her, had compassion for her and let her go. That Korean asshole left town and went back to her home country. Hollins' death is cited as a catalyst to the 1992 Los Angeles riots, in which Korean-owned stores were targeted, looted, and destroyed. Talking to a friend earlier today. Tanzania. Tanzania, not Uganda. Tanzania. Sorry. Talking to Judge Carlin is the name. NYC Beauties is here, right? As a matter of fact, Kevin Care 42 is reminding me that yesterday was the 30th anniversary of the death of Latasha Hollins. That sister would have been 45 years old. Sorry, I made a mistake. I said Uganda. I meant to say Tanzania. Sorry about that. Right? I was talking to Kevin Care 42 today, and he reminded me that when they really studied this claim that Korean-owned stores were targeted, looted, and destroyed, that when you looked at it, it was actually Hispanics and whites who were doing that to the Koreans' own stores, not black folks. Fast forward to March last year when black community members in Charlotte, NC protested Misha Beauty Store after owner Sung Ho Lim, and he is a hoe, was filming choking a black female customer he suspected of stealing. These infamous incidents have become emblematic of Black Korean conflict, which has been widely documented and researched. Remember, this is an Asian person writing this article. Although Black Korean conflict may have largely disappeared from front-page headline news, the reality of racially distinct immigrant small business entrepreneurs operating in poor, underserved, minority neighborhoods persists as a formula of potential conflict, right? Author Million Kang in The Managed Hand, Race, Gender, and the Body and Beauty Service Work. Quote, the potential for misunderstandings and dissatisfaction remains high in service exchanges involving emotional and embodied dimensions across various social divisions. All that is a bunch of garbage, she just said. Word salad. The reality is you have, and this is my thing about this whole called hashtag anti-Asian hate nonsense. If you feel like Juju Chang and them are trying to push that black people are the ones who are attacking you, then get out of black neighborhoods then. But you won't do it because you make your money, you make your bread off of black people in black neighborhoods. I live in a predominantly black neighborhood. These Chinese folks who have this store out here are not attacked. If anything, they're rude to black folks. And black folks still go patronize them, and this is the fundamental problem that black folks have. You'll boycott for about 30 days, and after that, you'll go right back in. When the new Red Apple thing happened here in Brooklyn on Nostrand Avenue, right? I happened to be in another part of Brooklyn, a park called Park Slope, and there was black women giggling their asses off, sitting up. I'm talking about within a day or two, in an Asian store, giggling their ass off. I opened the door and I said, "Hey, y'all don't care about the black woman, the 3 black women who were beaten up in the store just yesterday?" And they ignored me. They ignored me. These Asians are practicing the same anti-blackness that everyone else practices. But now there's a game running now. There's a game running now. It seems that these Asians, when Akai Gurley was killed by Peter Liang, if you remember, let me pull that up here. Hold on. Right? You guys should be able to see this. Right? Scapegoated. The police killing that left Asian Americans angry and divided. The conviction of Peter Liang, a Chinese American officer who fatally shot unarmed black father Kai Gurley, has sparked complex racial tensions. Look at the signs of these Asian motherfuckers in the picture. Right? Peter, scapegoat. Justice, not revenge. Right? These guys basically were arguing for the ability to carry out the same type of race-based police murders that go on, right? And get the same slap on the wrist, if anything at all, that white boys get when they, as cops, when they kill black folks. This is what this so-called Black Asian alliance, I've heard some people calling it, is about. These folks want to be able to do what they can to you like the white folks, like the Caucasian folks can do. And I don't know if they changed their gears now, but now they're trying to get the sympathy that black folks, quote unquote, get. In the chat room, Kevin K42 says it's ironic that it was a Korean woman that killed Latasha Hollins, and 30 years later was a white supremacist that killed six of them, I guess, on the anniversary of the death of Latasha Hollins. There's a so-called alliance march on Sunday in Manhattan with black and Asian. Watch all the sellouts show up. Yeah, I'm going to show y'all one type of asshole sellout in a second. After the pandemic was lifted in July, you saw all those black women in the Asian nail salon. NYC Beauty says Peter Liang was told not to go in the building, and he did. His white partner ratted him out. Right? But they're out here trying to get, have the ability to to kill you with impunity. And I'm supposed to be in alliance with these folks? Anti-Asian hate? KW Don 7, you're in Canada. Is there a similar push in Canada about anti-Asian hate in Canada? Right? So to continue, each publicized incident called into question the anti-black biases of Asian immigrants and Asian Americans. But the boycotts that follow were often xenophobia-tinged retaliations, depicting a sort of tit-for-tat cycle between communities. In the protests following the August 3rd incident at New Red Apple Nails, where the question was asked, "Where's ICE?" Right? That was heard amongst the chants outside of a second salon blocks away, Beautiful Red Apple Nails, according to New York Post. An employer at Beautiful Red Apple Nails told the New York Times that the two similarly named businesses are not owned by the same people. In 1990, the Haitian woman involved in the scuffle had began the Flatbush boycott, allegedly told the cashier, "Yon Chinese, Korean motherfucker, go back to your country," according to a report from the New Republic. During the ensuing protests, a black teen bashed the skull of a Vietnamese resident with a hammer as his accomplices yelled, "Koreans go home." These sentiments mirror the xenophobic rhetoric often experienced by non-white immigrants, and call to mind for Asian Americans the 1982 murder of Vincent Chin, a Chinese man who was murdered by two white men who mistook him for Japanese. Right now, there's all this talk about this white boy who went and killed, I think, like 8 Asian women or something like that, right? I think that was in Georgia, right? And so, I see Sharice Council is in the room saying, "Great video." I appreciate that. Sharice, we got to get a bump from one of you guys on the Queen's Council to advertise on the show. Stick around and you'll hear what the bump sounds like, right? But we have to get a bump from one of y'all, right? Black Excellence is also in the room. Black Excellence says they're co-opting our movements. Absolutely. They see there's black. In fact, it's these Asian folks who are here talking about all lives matter when people say Black Lives Matter, right? KW Don says the same propaganda is going on in Canada as well, right? Well, there's a white boy who just did a bunch of killings. And by the way, a couple of weeks ago, Ho-ass Juju Chang from ABC News out here in New York did a whole thing where she basically threw black men under the bus as, making it seem like black men were the problem for Asian people. Now, a white guy goes and kills a bunch of Asian women, from what I understand, right? And folks on Twitter are dragging her dumbass, right? Calling her out, right? You can see here when you look up Juju Chang on Twitter, people are asking, are we going to talk the Asian store owner killing Latasha Hollins, the Asian cop Daniel Holtzclaw raping black women, and Juju Chang trying to get the heat off of him as if the women were lying? Asians hurting black women in their stores and nail shops, and the incidents in Africa. Oh, we haven't even talked about the incidents in Africa. Right? We haven't even talked about that, right? F Juju Chang, of course, right? Professor Black Truth. I'm not a big Professor Black Truth guy, but he says white male kills 8 in Asian massage parlor kill spree. For weeks, people like Juju Chang from ABC have been endlessly pushing the lie that black people are targeting Asians. Meanwhile, white suspects have been killing Asians, and reporters like Chang say nothing. Look at your boy D Connor 89 says Juju Chang, that heifer needs to be called to the carpet ASAP. She put that lie about black people attacking Asians in droves weeks ago when this shit popped off, putting us in a bad spot that we already are in. And you could go down and down, people. I hope Juju Chang is ready to discuss this white terrorist attack on the Asian American community. I hope Juju Chang addresses the entire white community the same way she targeted the entire black community for the rising attacks of Asian Americans. You see what I'm saying? So we got these propagandists like Juju Chang pushing that stuff. But you know what I think a big part of this is? I think a big part of this is, and like Sharice Council from the Queen's Council is saying in the chat room, is like the Oppression Olympics. By the way, you guys make sure to check out the Queen's Council. You know I always big up that show, as well as the Harsh Reality podcast and the Pro-Black Perspective, right? But what was I saying? I don't even think it's as much as this racial Olympics as some people might think, like Sharice is saying in the chat room. Honestly, I think these Asians are kind of projecting and trying not to have the lingering stigma of this COVID-19 situation, right? I think they're trying to avoid that stigma going forward. Remember when that COVID-19 thing jumped off, they was attacking Africans and stuff in China heavy. Then they lied and said the videos were old and all that kind of stuff, but there's always been anti-African attacks in China. As a matter of fact, we talked about sellouts a second ago. Let me show you one of these sellouts here. So this is a tweet I tweeted last night to this guy CJ Johnson, one of these blue check Negroes, right? Let me see what CJ Johnson is about here. I guess he's from GQ magazine, right? So this whole ass dude, CJ Johnson, is talking about, don't let ignorant ass people get away with referring to COVID-19 as the quote-unquote China virus. That shit is repugnant. Now, we know Trump was pushing that China virus, and only time I say it came through later on and was kind of making a joke about Trump calling it the Kung Flu, which I think is funny as hell. I don't care who don't like that shit. That shit is pure comedy, right? But my response to that was, look, man, infectious diseases have historically been named for geographic locations where they were thought to have originated. For example, the Spanish flu, West Nile virus, Middle East respiratory syndrome, Zika, Ebola. So no, it's their turn now. China, hashtag China virus, and I stand on that. These people have no problems calling some shit, making AIDS African, right? West Nile virus and all this kind of stuff. But when it comes to you guys now, you guys are somehow exempt? The hell with that foolishness. So this is the nonsense that we're seeing from even our own people out here. Our people are, it's getting to that point where we might have to start saying, our people are the weakest link out here. Our whole ass people are the ones out here. Oh, you gotta support Chinese businesses during the pandemic, early in the pandemic. It's these guys. These Asians don't buy shit from you and your black businesses. These Asians come into black communities and there's a parasitic relationship. There's no mutual benefit. Some little fried rice is a benefit to me. All the money you're making off black folks, and then you want to turn around and create and push to create laws that further criminalize black folks. And of course, we got Biden and another whole ass, what's his woman name again? Kamala Harris? Is Kamala, whatever her name is. Who, by the way, is Asian American. Who, by the way, has a history of writing laws or carrying out functions that tend to criminalize black men often. So what do you think they're going to push here on us? In the chat room, there's some activity. Sharice said, great video. Give me the okay sign. I heard it. They tripping. That's Sharice. Black Excellence says Richard Aoki was allied with the Black Panthers. He ended up betraying them so much for the alliance. And by the way, that's the Black Panthers' fault. This is why I'm saying black folks are beginning to more and more look like the weakest link. That's the Black Panthers' fault. What the fuck was he doing there? Black Excellence says, don't forget last year in China, Africans were being blamed for Rona. They were put out on the cold streets. Remember, McDonald's in China, they had a sign up where no blacks were allowed. They might as well had added no dogs and blacks allowed, like the old Bruce Lee films, right? No Chinese and dogs allowed. Sharice Council said that makes sense. Black Excellence says to Sharice, greetings, Queen. Sharice Council said it makes no sense that we're performing hate crimes against them. I mean, what's the... To what end? To what end is the crimes about? No one can even give you a straight answer. Well, why would black folks, harass them? Because of the coronavirus, which everyone is suffering under? Oh, come on, man. Sheree says facts, period. They'll shift you they'll shoot you in a minute. Yeah. Come on now. Kevin K is posting some videos about these Asians discussing what you call it? Restaurants. There's this thing on YouTube where what's it called again? Is it Bad Asian Dining or something like that? Where you could look at how poorly they run their restaurants. Kevin K posted some links. You guys could check those out. KW Don 7 says Lonnie Love co-signed the nonsense with Ginny Mai. This is not a surprise because she is a struggle swirler. Jeezy is also compromised, as are any black person who swirls with the enemy. Like only time I said something when we did that joint show, talking about Nyere and what they were trying to do in East Africa, the East African Federation. He said something very interesting. He said, once a black person marries white, dates white, mixes white, has children with white, you just gotta chalk that person up as your enemy. And it's just what it is. You just have to look at them as they are now also white. Right? Kevin Kerr says, I wonder if Jeremy Lin will comment. Well, Jeremy Lin was on some other whole shit himself. And he did comment just today. He commented about keep strong, keep the faith and be strong and all this old bullshit. Yeah, Dirty Dining. Right, on YouTube. If you look at some of those links that Kevin Kerr 42 posts about Dirty Dining and the way they run their businesses and stuff, right? Kevin K 42 says this is already backfiring on the Asians. The more they push, the more we push back. Sharice Council laughs her ass off with a big smile. Sharice Council said, I stopped eating their food years ago. And she also says, I look at them as white. That's how you have to look at them. That's how they want you to see them anyway. That's how they want you to see them anyway, right? Let me play. Let me take a quick commercial break. On the other side, I'll finish up this article.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
This is DAX. You tune into the Harsh Reality Podcast, providing you with social commentary on the news affecting our community, only on KWAZ Radio.
Peace, family. This is Oni, inviting you to listen to the pro-black perspective, where black problems are addressed with black solutions.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio.
Y'all make sure to check out those shows as well as the Queen's Council, here on KWAZ Radio. If you haven't already and you're here live with me right now, make sure to hit the like button. Those likes mean a lot. Hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Click the bell to be notified when I'm on live again. This show tonight was a more or less impromptu show. I just set it up and just jumped on. And look, I have people who are here who probably got the notification. And they're here with me live right now. And I appreciate you guys who are here live with me right now. KW Don 7 says a wrap for the Asian. Much like Urugu, their birth rate is below replacement level. Black Excellence says we have to start looking at these grades and their restaurants and start reporting it on blogs. This is the new awakening of black people. But speaking of blogs, I want to put you guys up on this blog here that is pretty cool. There's a blog called sankofa.knowledge.wordpress.com. You guys should check out sankofa.knowledge.wordpress.com. You guys can see the link on the screen. Let me double check that. Maybe not. But the site is sankofa.knowledge.com. In fact, let me see if I can copy this link. I'll put it in the chat. Right. This blog is like a journal of the goings on that's going on with black folks in general, including some of the stuff that's going on with black folks and these Asians out here. You know, by the way, as I'm posting that link, that reminds me, let me post the link in a second as soon as I can to the Discord. Remember we have a Discord. You guys should join. You can join as just a fan of the show, or you could join to help us construct this new age African centered curriculum. All right, you can join the Discord today. I'll post a link as soon as I get access. I got it now. So this link is good for the next 7 days, but if I were you, I would jump on it right now. All right, I would jump on it right now and join the Discord. All right, so Black Excellence says to KW-7, China, South Korea, and Japan has hit the death cross. There are more old people than young people. Right? So let me continue with this paper. I'm sorry. Well, before I go on, just make sure to check out sankofa.knowledge.wordpress.com. And you can see where on March 1st, Sankofa says, welcome. This is the first entry in this blog. Recently, I've been seeing the mainstream media demonizing the black community for Asians being attacked. I will seek to debunk these myths and bring the truth. And one of the entries is this speech from ABC News is just pure propaganda. I live in a community where there are plenty of Asian businesses. No one in the black community is attacking Asians, right? And so you guys can go and check it out. This is some of the well, what's it called again? The dirty dining videos that Kevin Kerr put up. This is Kevin Kerr's blog site, by the way. You guys could check it out. Right, this is some of the dirty dining videos. Right, this is Juju Chen talking about this racism. You could check out the video. The reason why I'm not playing this like a 30-minute video, I'm not going through all that right now, but that's what's going on. Right, and to continue with this paper, it says these sentiments mirror the xenophobic rhetoric often experienced by non-white immigrants and call to mind for Asian Americans the 1982 murder of Vincent Chin, a Chinese man who was murdered by two white men who mistook him for Japanese. Now they ain't talking about these white boys out here slaughtering them, right? But they go for the low-hanging fruit, so to speak, and blame black folks. They ain't talking about all the white folks who get into Harvard University, right, with no good damn sense in their head. They want to complain about literally the 3 out of 100, right? The 3 out of every 100 black folks that they put in Harvard, they want to complain that it's too many black folks getting into Harvard and not them, right? People of color often adopt the same anti-immigrant mentality and buy into the fear of yellow peril created by white supremacy and nationalism. So now they know about white supremacy and nationalism and white nationalism, systems that make everybody complicit to them, including the oppressed. Sociologist Tamara K. Nopper argued against depicting these black-Asian conflicts as quote-unquote mutual misunderstanding. In a 2015 article, quote, the use of mutual misunderstanding suggests shared status or power with each other, contributing to each other's vulnerability and suffering, Nopper wrote. The employment of the mutual understanding framework suggests Asian store owners desire identification with and from black customers across class and race lines. Yet many studies of Asian immigrant store owners show they hold racist views of black people and associate them with negative qualities purportedly absent among Asians. So if anyone is attacking who's attacking who really? When you happen to go in an Asian store, and I know this is true in the 90s around the Latasha Hollins murder, right? Black folks go in Asian stores and you're followed. Hurry up and buy and get out. It's the kind of shit you heard, right? So who's really attacking who? Asian Americans must admit and rectify the ways we uphold white supremacy, namely our anti-blackness. Much like the US, Asian countries suffer from colorism and caste systems within their own societies. Anti-blackness is foundational to the creation of America, said Diane Wong, an assistant professor and faculty fellow at NYU Gallatin, whose research is focused on the gentrification of Chinatowns and Afro-Asian solidarities. It's no secret then that anti-blackness is reflected in Asian immigrant families, businesses, institutions, and interpersonal relationships on a frequent basis. As a society, we have progressed from lynchings to viral videos of violence against black people, from police killings and brutality to baseless accusations of criminality. In retail spaces, black people continue to experience racism and antagonism. When Asians internalize and perpetuate anti-black racism and violence, we are reifying our complicity and driving a deeper wedge between the minority groups. There's always been a wedge between minority groups. It is important to note that two groups are not equally positioned in larger structures of power, especially when one racial group is profiting off the other, which is oftentimes the case in these violent clashes between black people and Asians. It makes no sense for black folks to be harming you, right? It makes no sense, in fact, for you to be coming into black neighborhoods, making bread off of them, and then claim that black folks are harming you. There's this Chinese bastard named China Mac. Earlier today, I watched this video where he's telling Vlad, he's like a regular on Vlad TV, and he's telling Vlad that, and he's trying his best to talk around the raw truth that Asians come into black neighborhoods and make money off of them. So he's kind of stumbling over it. He's kind of stumbling right around it, but basically he's telling you, they go in bad neighborhoods, quote unquote, really bad neighborhoods. They see this and that and the other, but they're there to make them, they're there to do business. You know what I mean, Vlad? Like, nah, they're there to make their money. And so if black folks want to get this Asian problem off of them, get them the fuck out of your neighborhoods. Don't patronize their stores. Let them go around some Jewish, these Jewish folks who like Chinese food on Christmas and all that shit. Let them go around them and see how much money you're gonna make off of them Jewish folks. How much bread you gonna go make in the Jewish community alone? Y'all make your money off black folks. Respect them. When Asians internalize and perpetuate anti-black racism and violence, we are reifying our complicity and driving a deeper wedge between the minority groups. Tiffany Diane. So, race is certainly a factor, but is not the only factor. Kang, an associate professor at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, said in an interview, Kang's research has focused on Asian-owned nail salons and their racially diverse customers. Quote, many nail salon workers are under pressure to work quickly and keep costs down, which does not create the best environment for building customer relations. So here he comes with this whole ass shit to make it seem like it's nothing, it's not race, it's the long work hours. No, it's not. The long work hours just brings out the shit that's in you. The potential for tensions is heightened by the intimacy of the service, which involves direct physical contact, and the fact that many of the workers and owners are immigrants who do not speak the language or understand the culture of their customers. Well, see, ain't that a problem, right? How is it you flooding to come and open up businesses in neighborhoods where you can't even communicate with the people? But yet the people are attacking you. That's why I say, black folks, man, we gotta get this together. Y'all should never have let these folks come inside your neighborhoods and hold these central positions in the community where you get your food from, where you get your groceries from. If it ain't them, it's some Arab. And this goes back to the dilemma of integration. Black Excellence in the chat room says another thing we have to be wary of is Asian culture vultures, China Mac, K-pop and pop and all. I mean, I know a young black girl who's this big fan and dizzy over some K-pop Asians or something like that. And I look at her like, are you out your black mind? In these scenarios, attention is stoked by economic stress. The salon workers who often work for low wages under poor conditions, and the mostly working class clientele who cannot afford to waste money on subpar service. Kang stressed the importance of putting these largely politicized conflicts in context. I have observed hundreds of interactions in salons in this neighborhood that were very cordial and where workers and customers were very respectful and appreciative of each other, she said. Our perspectives are largely shaped by the way Black-Asian conflict is covered in media. There's a lot of misinformation when it comes to reporting on salient issues that affect both Black and Asian communities, says the folks who now are going on media talking about Black people are the problem for them. However, when videos of Asian business owners and workers inflicting violence on Black customers go viral, when Asian American activists protest in support for Peter Liang, an NYPD officer who shot an unarmed Black man in the stairwell, the message received by the public is that Asians do not care about Black lives. How am I supposed to take that? How am I supposed to take that? When you guys took your asses out there, right, standing up for Peter Liang, hoping that he get the same treatment all the white cops who get to skate off of killing Black men and Black women in the streets, right? Hoping that he gets the same treatment. How am I supposed to see that? These acts of violence are only a microcosm of the conflict between the minority groups, moments when the tensions bubbles up to the surface and pops. There have been many ways statistics about Asian American achievement and the model minority myth have been used as a wedge between Asians and other minority groups, most notably through Ed Blum's anti-affirmative action lawsuit against Harvard. I talked about that just a few minutes ago. Now, all of a sudden, you're not the model minority. All of a sudden, when we start catching your hands in the racist cookie jar, the model minority was just a myth now. We're trying to get in Harvard, and those 3 out of 100 Black folks you let in is a little bit too much. You need to let more Asians in there. Don't complain about the 3 Black folks getting into Harvard. Go complain about the 60, 70, 80% of white folks getting in Harvard. Many Asian Americans have thrown their support behind ending affirmative action and in support of standardized testing in school admission, placing their own concerns ahead of the communities marginalized by these systems, namely black, brown, and indigenous peoples. As a kid, I used to cringe when my dad, a self-proclaimed Democrat, would use slurs to refer to black people. See, I can respect some of these Asian types. Some of these folks, especially like the millennial folks of whites and Asians and stuff, they'll tell you just what it is. My father was a whole-ass dude who used to use racial slurs, right, referring to black people. I like that. I can respect that kind of thing. Sometimes rolling my eyes and shouting daddy at him. Now I realize that I must do more than just cringe. It is my generation's job to undo the legacy of anti-black racism within our communities and to resist complicity with white supremacy. And it starts with talking about it. No, it starts with stopping it. But you don't care to stop it. You guys are one and the same. Some of the comments were, this was uncomfortable to read and so necessary. Thank you for speaking to me as a 1.5 Gen Asian American. I'm struggling to engage my parents and having more historical info provided useful context. Deep breaths. This is a much needed conversation on the traumatic dynamic between both races. Not many non-black people I know understood the significance with the Asian man at the gathering in Get Out. When I saw Get Out, I wondered about his presence as well. So after some research, I found that Asian people also had black slaves. So our history is long and deep. I'm a white expat living in Singapore, and I'm regularly stunned at how racist Asians of all backgrounds are towards black people. They generally think they're subhuman. It's astounding. Yeah, all Asians are racist. Well, at least they didn't make laws against minorities like the Chinese Exclusion Act or slavery or make up stereotypes to keep them out of Harvard. Or even try to propagate the belief that all members of that group possess characteristics. So this is an Asian or someone along those lines coming along trying to push the idea that it's white folks who are solely to blame. No, all of you are complicit. Right? All of you are complicit. Let me see what's going on in the chat room before I sign out. I just wanted to jump on here and rant about this nonsense that's going on and maybe talk to some of you guys. And as it turns out, you guys hopped on with me and talked to me, so I appreciate you guys. All right? Kevin Care 42 says that cheating scandal 2 springs ago was brought on by the Asians bringing a lawsuit about affirmative action. They got caught up in it also. One Chinese family, I think, paid $6.5 million to get into Harvard. It blew up in their face. I remember that, their daughter, right? NYC Beauty says China Mac is an Asian in blackface and a black scent. Black Excellence says, look at how they want to keep the black kids out of the elite public schools in NYC, Stuyvesant, Bronx Science, and Brooklyn Technical. Yeah, didn't you have to take a specialized test to get in there? Speaking of standardized tests, didn't you have to take a special test to get in there? Also, not a lot of people know about the black genocide in New Guinea, right? So anyway, guys, I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. This was a short rant, a little longer than 15 minutes, but you guys get the idea. I definitely want to come on and talk about what's going on with this so-called anti-Asian hate, which is just frankly nonsense. If you're gonna address that to anyone, you address that to these to your friends, white folks. Address that to them. Don't bring that to black folks, right? I want to thank you guys for joining me. Let me shout out everyone who hopped on. I saw Black Excellence in here, NYC Beauties. You guys check out NYC Beauties YouTube page as well. Photographer friend who takes pictures of beautiful black women across the city of New York. Check out that channel. Kevin Care 42 was here today. I also saw Sharice Council was in the room. Good to see Sharice here as well. KW Don 7, the solid fan of the show, KW Don 7 was here. And I think I got everyone with that. Kevin Care42 posted some links in the room. You guys check out those links as well. I also posted the link to the Discord. If you're not aware of what the Discord really means, the Discord means that is a place that we have where we are working on a African-centered curriculum. We're there to discuss African-centered curriculum and whatever else. There's also a place for fans of the show to hop on and let's just commune. Okay? So if you want to be a fan of the show, you hop on, let us know. You want to help with the African-centered curriculum, hop on and let us know that as well. It's all good. Again, thanks you guys for hopping on with me. I will be doing a show tomorrow night, which is why I'm not trying to stay on too long tonight. So you guys should be seeing a notification soon about that. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.